don't think there is anybody, over the age of 10 years of age who doesn't have some interest in finding their essence, and through that essence, then, enabling their life to be a better life, and then enabling their better lives to be better for the people around them. Can you tell me how, trying to find how to find your essence, first of all, if people are still saying, well, how do I do that? And the linkage between the Dharma and this essence.
Yeah. I think the mistake that we can make is in believing that when we are looking for our essence or looking for our purpose, the way I describe it in the book is sort of our inner calling. What are we yearning for? I think when you're 10 years old, it's actually much easier to know because you're not buried under so much stuff. I think we get buried in life and we start to sort of, the essence that's always been within us starts to get a little bit more hidden and we start to lose touch with that place. So the question isn't how do we find it, but how do we reconnect with it? And one of the things that I have really been trying to focus on with this book is how do we do that in a really practical way? Because I think that if the answer is to go journeying, to go meditate on a mountaintop to find the answer, well, then, that's out of access for the vast majority of us. But the good news is that you don't have to. One of my favorite quotes is from Steven Spielberg, who says that purpose doesn't come in shouts, it comes in whispers. But you have to be quiet enough to sort of notice what those moments are. One of the specific practical activities that I have the people I coach now do, who are trying to rediscover that place. And by the way, these are people who on paper you would think are living exactly what they should be doing. Like their LinkedIn profiles are beyond impressive. They're leading thousands of people. They are in charge of big businesses, but they're still sort of yearning. They're still trying to figure out that thing. And one of the things I have people do is just make little notes throughout the day of when you start to feel a little spark, a little energetic spark, right? And it could be because you were in a certain type of meeting or there was a certain type of project you were working on, a certain interaction that you had that just kind of gave you that little spark. And every time you feel that, even if it's fleeting, even if it's just for a moment, jotting it down. And what I have people do that is to perform that activity for a few days. And typically what ends up happening is that they'll come back to me with, they've made a few a day for a few days, it's 20 to 25 sort of notes, and we'll examine them. And what we'll realize is a couple of things. Number one is that almost always there's a pattern of some sort, right? Even if they didn't write down exactly the same thing, there's a theme that sort of runs through the page. But the other thing is that that theme is oftentimes not obvious. Meaning it's the accountant who realized that he loved design. Every time he was interacting with somebody who was on the creative side of the world, he started to feel a little bit of a flicker, right? And I think it's so important for us to pay attention to these little flickers in our life because they do exist. Part of the reason that we tend to ignore those flickers is because of what psychologists call the negativity bias. And the negativity bias basically says we're going to be paying far more attention to things that go wrong than we are to the things that go right. So the point being, you could be feeling these positive, really nice sensations throughout the day, but be completely dismissing them. And so just in the same way that we are mindful of things that we need to solve in our life, we also need to bring that same level of mindfulness towards the things that that are going right. Because oftentimes if we can tune into those at the same level, we can start to get signals, like real pointers to where our essence lies.